Hi guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. Igama lami Somi and I am with my husband, the one and only yena yedwa.
You stole it from me, so okay, do I start as Umsimelo Kapolitino or do I just continue from your left? So guys, Somi no Umsimelelo Kapolitino.
Yes. Okay guys, so today we're talking about a topic that we've never really spoken about much.
I think just the two of us, just between the two of us, we seldom visit this topic.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But anyway, the reason why we wanted to do it is because one, we wanted to just show also the other side, not the other side of our relationship, but rather the realities of being in a relationship, and that we weren't always here, and even here is not always perfect. But back then, we really struggled to get to this point. We almost didn't make it to this point.
True.
So we're just gonna share about our breakup story, when we broke up. So this is, I guess, a story time, the time that we broke up.
Kinda.
Yeah. So I think we need to start off with
starting to date. Where did it all begin? When did we start dating? Okay, must up. For those of you that have seen our previous videos, especially the first 2 or 3 videos when we talk about how we met, you will remember that we kind of met twice.
Yeah.
It was pre-accident, and then we also met after I had the car accident that put me in this wheelchair.
Yeah.
And it's only then that we started dating. Before that, when we met the first time, we couldn't date.
Yes.
Not for lack of trying on my side, but because someone had very high moral standards.
And okay, sure, okay.
And wouldn't consider dating someone that was dating. And obviously also you were also
it's a given, Jenna.
You were also in a relationship.
Anyway, so both of us, guys, to cut the story short, we were both in a relationship, the first time around. So we obviously could never date. So when we met the second time around, what?
Yeah, you've just pointed out how shady I was.
You were very shady. So when we met the second time around, we were both single. So when you'll share how you got to be single, and let me just give a backstory of how I got to be.
Wow, why do I feel like I'm sharing how people break up with me all the time on this channel?
Yeah, it does like that.
Yeah, this feels kind of deja vu.
No,
but
okay.
Anyway.
So, I had been in a relationship with someone since I was in high school. And I think by the time, right before we met, I think we were almost doing like 4 years. Yeah,
okay.
And but then it's only now that I'm grown that I realized that I was in the relationship alone. Yeah, because when I think back of that relationship, I'm like, what was I thinking? What was going on? Like, there was no relationship. I was the only one in the relationship. But nonetheless, I think the relationship then became a long distance relationship. I think the last 2 years of the 4 years.
Okay.
And that's when I actually got to really see this person's true colors. So I think the last year of our relationship, I hardly saw this person. Like, I never saw him. I think I maybe saw him twice in that year. And for me, I think I realized then that, oh, wait a minute. If I don't put in the effort here, he's definitely not going to try. So that's when I stopped phoning, sending messages. And I noticed that, oh, okay, since I'm not doing any of those things, he's also not doing
that.
So it was clear by then that, oh, all along I've been in this relationship alone. So we didn't even break up. I just stopped putting in effort, and he just kind of disappeared and fizzled out.
And just like that
it was over. That is why I'm saying I was in the relationship alone for most part of it. But then it took me forever to realize it. At that time, I think around the end of the year of 2009, yeah.
Because that would be the year that we reconnected.
Yeah. Because if you remember, even for Christmas, I was supposed to come over to your house and whatever and whatever. By then, guys, I think the whole of 2009, basically, I was single, but in a relationship, because there was no one in my life. But in my head, I thought I was in a relationship. Yeah, but so by the end of 2009, like, that's when I stopped putting an effort into everything, and that's when things kind of fizzled out. 2010, there was nothing. There was like absolutely nothing. And that's when we reconnected.
Okay.
So how did you get to the breakup part?
I think I do share it in
your book.
Yeah, in my book. But I'm not sure about the previous episodes. But this is what happened, fam. For those of you that do remember, I had the car accident in April 2009, and I was hospitalized until about September. Hospitalized and went into rehab hospital, and then when I was discharged, I remember it was the 2nd of September when I got discharged. I was in a relationship, and it was 4 years into that relationship as well. So get home 2nd of September, we're finding the whole transition very hard, and 30th September I got an email, and it was a breakup email. So she broke up with me on email.
Yeah.
She used technology.
Wow, babes.
But anyway, yeah, it was very hard for me. It was very hard because I was also kind of transitioning into this new life, and this person was like a constant. She was that person that was in my life for the past
4 years.
4 years, and kaboom, she also decides to, resign.
Yeah, resign her duties.
Resign her duties as girlfriend.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had to kind of accept that, and it was hard. But then time went on, and we reconnected.
Yeah, via Facebook.
Via Facebook in December.
In December.
By the way, I was not into Facebook until I think probably around that time when I got out of hospital. Facebook was not my thing.
Yeah.
And I remember you were one of the people that was suggested as friends, and I thought, oh, what happened to Somi? And that's when I started checking you up on Facebook.
And that's when we started.
And that's when it started.
Yeah,
the whole reconnection. We made plans to meet
on Christmas.
On Christmas, guys. Previous videos.
Yeah, previous videos. Anyway, fast forward, girl, babe. Let's just fast forward.
Let's fast forward. We're relationshiping. It's awesome.
This is 2010.
This is
World Cup, guys. Let's find those pictures, babes. The 2010 pictures. And we'll put them up somewhere.
Okay, cool.
2010. So Msi, we could say he's freshly injured. Remember also we did say that we spent a few months of just friendshipping after he was at home after his accident, before we started to date. And during all that time, in fact, from the time that I heard that he was in a car accident and what his condition was, I started doing my own research, trying to understand his condition. And I think somewhere I've shared that I was even praying for you, because like, I don't know, I just felt like, oh my God, if God gives him another chance, I'll go tell him how I honestly feel about him. And because at that time also, while you were in hospital, I think I sent you a message. Oh, the Ace story, guys! Go back to our previous videos, man, because this has got so much background.
It's how we met part 1 and how we met part 2.
It's got so much background. But anyway, I sent you a message while you were in hospital, because at that time I was like, oh my God, I was praying for you. I'm like, he needs to make it out, and I know he's got a girlfriend, but I'm just gonna go tell him how I feel about him, and if he rejects me, he rejects me, but I'm just praying that God gives him a chance so that I can go tell him how I feel. Fine. Anyway, we then started dating in 2010, and guys, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was great. We were learning so much about each other,
and we clicked so well.
Yeah, we've always clicked.
And she laughed at everything I said. So
yeah.
It was actually the first time I realized that I was funny to someone else.
Who did you think you were funny to, girl?
No, I didn't think I was funny.
Oh,
but now
maybe.
But now it's like, here comes this person and she's laughing at everything I say.
Yeah.
I even started seeing a career as a stand-up.
Yeah, I remember. This guy. But anyway, we spent almost every day together, and on days where
I remember in my room back at home, I had like a sofa
in the corner,
and Somi would come in daily and she would get comfortable on that sofa.
But that's when we were getting to know each other. When we were dating, the sofa was gone.
Yeah, you were here, there, everywhere.
Yeah, no, the sofa was gone. Anyway, let's cool up. So when we started dating, for me, I think I'm gonna speak for myself. When we started dating, for me, it was so different. This relationship was completely different. For the first time, I was kind of overwhelmed also at this person who is suddenly here to support me. In what I had known in my previous relationship was that each man for himself or herself, you do what you gotta do, you know. And here was this guy who was asking me, like even when I was writing exams, you'd call me and you'd ask me, are you ready, wish me luck, and check on me. And hey guys, I don't know what I was in previously, but this guy came and he showed me what a relationship's supposed to be like. The things that he did and the way that we just connected and the way that I felt so secure around him is something that I totally didn't have. Why are you laughing?
No, I've just remembered something now.
What?
During those first few months of dating, I think we were on the phone and you ran out of airtime, and I quickly tried buying you airtime, and I remember you receiving the airtime and your mother thinking that,
yo, hayi mama. Umama wayesibaya uthi ayisana lo muntu wakho utokolayo. Guys, if I don't know how to explain utoko like in English. Mama wayicinga uba ndinomuntu otokolayo sana, someone who is somehow connecting wires so that they have never ending airtime. That's how much time I used to spend on the phone. I remember I wanted to get off at Spa to go to my friend's house, and my mom was like, yo, hi guys. So my mom and my dad had this thing, guys, like, but with the way that they were shabbering, babes, we're gonna have to put subtitles because I don't want to exclude anyone. The way that they would do it is my parents would look at each other and you knew that they were talking about you. You know, you just knew. And my mom would be like, hey son, say hello professor, professor. And I'm like, whatever. Because absolutely everything that went on in my life, like, you knew. Like I involved you in everything. We did everything together, guys. It was just that kind of love there where it's like imnandi man. It was I remember also at work I was supposed to go test for learners. I was at work and my colleagues call me and they're like, Somi, there's something here for you. And I'm like, what? Okay, fine, because I was sitting somewhere hiding from them because I wanted to quickly refresh for learners before I go write it. And then when I went downstairs to the reception area, I see there's a bunch of flowers there.
This is the lunchbox story.
There's a bunch of flowers there, and I'm like, what are these for me? Like, and then obviously when I open the card, it's written a nice sweet message and good luck and all of those things, and at the end it says lunch bar. The lunch bar thing, even some of my colleagues still call you lunch bar, by the way.
Do they?
The lunch bar thing, let me explain, guys. So Msi and so much backstory, guys. Msi and I, when I was around my parents, like I couldn't say I love you too. Yeah, because he's my friend. I can't be talking about I love you to my friend.
Yeah.
You know? So if he's calling me or when we're on the phone and I I wouldn't say I love you too. We would use the lunch bar thing. Yeah. Remember that lunch bar and lunch bar, obvious. So he'd say I love you and I'd say lunch bar. So the lunch bar thing kind of became our thing. Like whenever you wanted to say I love you but wanted to be a bit incognito, you would say lunch bar. So I get to work, I get to read the card and the card says blah 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 blah, good luck and all of those things, and then at the end it says lunch bar. So my colleagues were like, Kubanu lunch bar, who is lunch bar, and all of those things. But nonetheless, guys, I think the first year was it was crazy awesome. Yeah, I also remember the time we went to Lusikisiki.
Oh yeah, we even went to visit my brother.
Yeah, guys.
My sister-in-law in Lusiki.
Yeah, before I even got married,
yeah, you were just in there.
I was in there, in the depths of the family, okay? I was in there. But the first year was just, it was amazing. It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah, and the time we spent on the phone.
Yeah.
I
know.
I think you'd come back from work, go straight to my place.
Yeah.
And we would spend time until about 6, 7 ish.
Yeah.
You would walk home, and as you exit the house,
we'd be on the phone.
Up until you
get
get home. You get home, you get settled in, you have supper, and we're on the phone.
Yeah.
Until you go to bed.
Yeah. We were just always talking to each other, always checking up on each other. We spent a lot of time together. And then how in the
title, the title of the video
talks about a breakup, and yet we are talking about how great the relationship was. How did we get to break up?
Yes. Do share.
Baby, you start.
Do share. How did we get to break up, baby?
No,
you start.
Okay,
you
so
you narrate this story so much better than me.
No, okay, fine, it's fine. So how did we get to break up? So I think after a year of us dating, cracks started to show in our relationship. I think then our previous experiences of our previous relationships and just we started to now bleed into this new relationship.
Yeah, they started to catch up with us.
Yeah, they started to catch up with us. For me, I think I got to a point where I felt like, because you wouldn't understand, like, as much as we had a great relationship and all of that, but there were some issues in our relationship, in the sense that communication was a problem. And on my side particularly, like for me, I felt like I didn't need to tell you where I was going, what I was doing all the time. I felt like it's my life. And also, I think also because that's what I was used to. Yes. I was also very much careful of not getting, as much as I was attached, but from time to time, I would try to be like,
detach.
Pull back, yeah. I'd be like, I don't want to get myself so attached to this person. I mean, who knows, maybe the ex-girlfriend might just come out of the woodworks and people might rekindle their love, and I'm left, in the pits of...
I think you were also constantly on the lookout for red flags.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing. Well, for me, that was another big thing. Because we're always hearing about red flags. We're always hearing people talking about red flags. So, is that a red flag? Is that a red flag? So I would detach, and I would feel like, no, I don't owe you any explanation, and I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing with my life or where I'm going.
Yeah.
And sometimes purposefully I would just pull away, guys, the issues, and I think all of us have a past, that all of us have issues. So sometimes I would just detach and just decide, no.
You know what? I'm not coming through this weekend.
I just decide
spend
that
the weekend at home, and that's it.
Yeah, and I just decide, and this was and okay, well, you thought I was coming, you made plans for us, well, and this,
Yeah.
I'm coming across as...
And also on my side, I think I also became a bit demanding.
Yeah.
I think also previous relationship. In my previous relationship as well, I was kind of used to the spending all the time kind of together, to a point that the person had their own place and I would spend most of the time there, or they would be at my house. So I was kind of used to that, and
now you were in a relationship where I wasn't allowed to be out of the house for long periods and all
so
of those
for
things.
Those times where I felt okay, we could spend time together here, I would then kind of demand that. And I think that would come across as well in my language, in the way that I would ask for it or even demand it.
Yeah, like, why aren't you coming through?
Like, why? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And also, I was freshly injured at the time.
Yeah.
And I think just psychologically, I was not in a good place.
Yeah.
And that was something that I was still dealing with. So I also developed a bit of an inferiority complex, where now it kind of emanated itself into jealousy, where I would feel, okay, you're not coming around, where you going, who you with? And yeah, I would just generally get upset at maybe finding out last minute that, oh no, you're actually spending time with friends, or you're actually doing something like, but why didn't she tell me?
Yeah.
Who are these friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It became Msi became overbearing for him now, and for me that made me feel like, okay, I need to pull away even more, you know. Another thing with Msi and I is that, guys, we lacked communication big time. When we had our disagreements, we would fight. Like, we would fight.
And the one person would do
what they know the other person doesn't like. For example, when we had our disagreements, like, we would be like shouting at each other, but then it got to a point where, for example, Umna, he knows I don't like it when he raises his voice. Yeah, so he'd raise his voice and I'd get irritated. And what I know is that I know he doesn't like it when I bang things and I bang doors and stuff like that. So to retaliate, I'd be like, as I walk out, I'll just bang the door just to make him more upset. And then it would translate to the phone calls. We'd be fighting over the phone.
And someone would just drop the phone.
And while he's talking, I'll be just on his ear, you know, I'd just hang up on him. That made him more angry. He'd call back and I'd ignore his call. Guys, it became messy. Oh, it became so messy. It became...
And I think what made it difficult for me is that, okay, I was used to being in fights in relationships. It happens, you fight, you disagree.
Yeah.
But then I'd be able to get up and go to the person, maybe go have a conversation with them, or
get in your car and drive.
Or get in my car and drive, or when things have simmered down, I would do that. I would make an effort. Like, I'm like stuck at home.
Yeah.
And we have these fights, and all I can just see just the walls surrounding me and not being able to get to you
to make you see things
my way. Yeah,
so,
it was hard. It was hard. Now it meant I was in a relationship, but I was relationship-ping different.
Yeah. I think there was just so much. I think also because you were freshly injured, and then we got into a relationship. I think the first year of it felt so good, and I think you put all your effort and all your energies into just relationshiping for the first year, and you didn't really pay attention to what you were going through.
Yeah.
That in fact your life has completely changed. And then when the butterflies started simmering,
the relationship sort of shielded me from the effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
the realities.
The realities. For a moment, I kind of forgot what I was dealing with, or I might have even taken it and shoved it in the back of my head, and I was just goo and enjoying the ride.
Yeah, I think
my mother used to call our relationship an affair.
It always used to make me laugh because they are affair. But yeah, that's how grown people are, though. I think Mama was a bit concerned.
Yeah, she was. And it could be that most of my family members were probably concerned at that time. And I know during the first few weeks of you showing up at my house, my mother would come around and she would try to find out who's this girl.
Who's this new girl who's visiting so much.
And yeah, I was forever cagey about my stuff.
Yeah.
So,
but I think Mama, her concern was that don't jump into a relationship and that relationship crumble now.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's what her worry was.
And I think that's where I was also. That part of my overbearingness, demanding, jealousy phase was that I was... So as hard as the breakup time was, I kind of sort of realized that I needed help.
Yeah.
I kind of needed a way to cope with not just the breakup, because now...
But I don't think we told them. So, but anyway, guys, the eventuality of these cracks and these fights was that we decided that it's not working.
It was December 2011 that she made it official that the breakup was on.
Yeah, this is not a breakup.
And I wasn't accepting, obviously, for the first probably few weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, nope, that's not happening. We're not breaking up. And we would get on the phone.
Every time we try to fix it, like I tried to say, but if we're getting back together, then A, B, and C, and D needs to change.
Nope, that's just a new argument all over again.
And that would turn into an argument.
We would argue, we would shout at each other, phones would get dropped, and we'll be back at square one.
But then eventually we got to the breakup where we stopped calling each other, and yo guys, the breakup was hard.
During that time, I feel like our breakup could be broken up into phases. It was like a project. It had its initiation and it had uvutondaba. I don't know how to call that in English. Yeah, vutondaba. And then it had like the end where it finally
was a breakup.
Yeah. And during the party of Vutondaba, we even had the craziest of ideas.
Oh goodness, the ideas we had, guys. So here's the thing, ne? One of the ideas, let me just quickly
One of her crazy ideas.
One of the ideas with Msi, because I've always loved Msi, and I've always thought that this is my future and I want to have oh, it's birds. Because I've always loved him, I've always thought that I want to have a future with Msi. I always knew off the bat that I wanted to have your babies, right? And I wanted us to have babies together, let me put it that way. We wanted to have babies together. So,
and we started planning towards that during our relationship.
Before we even got married, we planned. And because I was doing my research, he was doing his research on his condition, we knew that, okay, having a baby might be a challenge. So we even knew that IVF was something that we would need to consider when we are ready to have a baby.
We started saving up towards it.
Oh, did we?
Yes, we started a savings account.
No, those savings were for holidaying. We used to holiday quite a lot. The money for the IVF came from somewhere else. I'm even shy to say it.
I remember I was actually awaiting a study grant.
Oh, Jesus.
At the time, I was awaiting a study grant that I had been given. So we had calculated in our heads that, look, the studies will be financed. We'll find a
way to finance the study. We're gonna take this money
and go make a baby.
Crazy idea. I know. In hindsight, I'm like, I shame. So those were plans that we had before the breakup, right? So I remember, for me, one of the things that solidified my, okay, this is a breakup, there's no turning back, is when you send me a text telling me that, oh, you got your study grant money and that you're gonna go and study and you're gonna do this and you're gonna buy this and that. I'm like, in my mind, I was so mad. I'm like, by the way, guys, even during our breakup stage, we used to kind of share certain things. It was crazy, again. But anyway, so when you tell me that you're gonna do A, B, and C and D with the money, I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Do you remember we even had that fight on the phone?
Yeah, I remember.
And we were fighting about the fact that, because I was still saying, but let's continue with our plans. Let's go make a baby. And you were like, and I was like, no, I'll keep the baby. And then you were like,
that'll be the start of a new fight. And then we get to the child's surname. We'll talk about things
that's another thing. I was adamant. By the way, guys, I was adamant that I'm not gonna change my surname when I get married. It was one of those things that I thought, why must I have your surname? I want to keep my surname. So even that, when we decided, okay, if we're gonna have a baby, whose surname is this child gonna bear? And I was like, no, they're gonna have my surname. And you were like, hell no. How the child's gonna have? That was another fight. So it's one of the crazy things that I remember we used to, so Msi and I did a holidays in between the year. We'll do a holiday in June and we'll do a holiday in December, but we would save for those holidays. Again, I think we've mentioned this in one of our previous videos. And then we would go on holiday. So before we broke up, we had been saving. And I remember when someone came to my house, they knocked, he sent me a message, but I'm sending someone to your house, they've got something for you. And when I got the envelope, I'm like, oh, inside the envelope there was money, guys. And guess what? Msi had given me my share of the savings. I'm like, oh, okay, so he is cleaning house already. He is giving me my money. What does it even tell me? It tells me that this guy is done with me. Okay, you know what? I'm done with him. So it was just crazy. Had we bought the furniture by then?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
The furniture was also there.
We bought
In fact,
furniture,
we had
guys.
started buying furniture.
We bought
together.
furniture, and yet we weren't even married, and it was at his house.
It was all the plans of us wanting to be ready for them moving together when we eventually get married.
Yeah,
So the furniture was there, and I know that it was on account.
it was on account. I was paying that
Yeah,
one.
so
Yeah, I was
you
paying
pay.
that account.
And the furniture was in our garage at home.
Yeah. I don't know what we were thinking. Anyway, guys, so the breakup eventually happened. Yeah, and I think for a couple of months we stopped talking and all of those things.
And I know with the furniture I was at, it's fine, I'll take it and I'll just give you
Give me the money.
the money.
Yeah.
But the breakup happened, guys, and we just stopped calling each other for a while.
Yeah.
But every now and then there'll be that thing that, you know, when you come across an event or you come across a thought and you think, this is something that I would share with Somi, guys, and she'll get it.
Yeah.
Or this is an achievement that, for instance, that year, the 2011,
Yeah.
we broke up December and I had one exam left for my honors,
Yeah.
which I wrote in January past. So I got my honors and I was like, the first person I would have wanted to share this news with is the person that I'm just recently broken up from.
Yeah.
So that was kind of hard.
I remember for me, there was that time when I went to go do my license game,
Oh yeah.
and I failed my license out of town the first time around. And I remember when I failed my license, I was so distraught, and at that time we were broken up. And the only person that I thought of calling was you. And I did call you, and you did come, and you said you'll come and pick me up. I was out of town, guys. And Msi came, and he came to pick me up, and it's like I always knew where to go, and I always knew in Dobana he would get me. Yeah, and I think as much as we were broken up, I always knew this person has my heart, and he knows how to support me. Yeah. So even with that, I remember I called you and you came through, and after that we were in limbo game about, okay, what does this mean? But we still continued saying, no, this is still a breakup.
Yeah. How about the time during this breakup when I don't know what was happening, but you called, I think you were going through something again.
Yeah.
And we started talking, and then you came through to my house. And
yeah, you said I should come through. Let me tell the story, babes. I tell it better. So I remember then Gowisha again, guys, and I don't know if we were already talking to each other on text that day, or I sent you a text and you said, come over to my house, and I was like, no ways, I'm not ready to be seen at your house. You know, your family's there. What if they see me and I'm not ready for them to see me? They probably hate me and all of those things. And you were like, no, I'll meet you at the park.
Yeah.
So we met at the park and we walked back to your house together, and I was just in a bad space that day. So much so that I eventually spent the night at your house.
Awkward. That was the awkwardest night we've ever spent together. I think.
How did you wake up so quickly?
Are we making that much noise?
Awkward.
Yeah, it was very awkward.
Why was it so awkward?
I actually slept like this the whole night. You're like, you don't want to move your arm and make the other person feel uncomfortable.
Because we were technically still
broken up. So
it was very awkward, guys, because
spend the night over as what, friends? That's just weird.
It was weird. And it was just awkward, guys. It's awkward. It's making me.
It's just
cringe.
awkward thinking about it.
Anyway, we're moving past that. That's just to illustrate that the breakup was weird, because as much as we would go maybe a few months without talking, but when certain things would happen in our lives, we still wanted to reach out to each other.
Yes.
And then how did we get to a point where we got back together?
I think I started working on myself.
Yeah.
I realized that a whole lot of things needed me to go and sharpen my coping tools. So I started seeing someone, And
Someone by that you mean therapist.
but someone, I mean therapist, yes. Started saying someone. Therapist, yes. Okay, so I shared with Somi that I've been going to these sessions and this is how I feel they're helping me, and I think you then decided that you wanted to do something.
So for closure, he suggested that maybe let's try and have joint sessions.
Yep.
So we would meet there at his offices and we would sit and we would talk, and I think slowly but surely I started
I remember the first time though that we both stayed in the same
area. Yeah.
the same area. So the first time we had a session, when we were leaving, I think you had called a cab or something, but
Yeah.
it was so weird that we stay in one area, we can go
Together.
but went to, yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, well, eventually, guys, we stopped seeing the therapist because we had decided to reconciliate instead of closure.
So we're like, you know what?
Thank you so much for your services.
Thank you so much for your services. We'll take it from here.
But yeah, eventually, guys, I think therapy helped us quite a lot. It helped us kakhulu.
And I think it was the communication tools that we were given that helped us a lot.
Yeah.
Because I think most of our arguments or issues stem from the fact that we were not communicating properly.
And I don't think we understood each other properly. I don't think I understood where you were coming from and you didn't understand where I was coming from. And it's quite important, guys, that also getting out of a relationship, it's so important to first heal from that relationship before jumping into a new relationship, because I do believe that we did bleed into our relationship based on our experiences from the previous relationships. But with therapy, you are able to see, you are able to get a different perspective, you're able to understand things differently,
and you've got that mirror that gets put in front of you where you actually
now it was born in our way. As much as, you know, sometimes we are taught to see red flags and we're taught to see all these things and we're taught to see how another person is toxic and all of these things, but sometimes those things are coming from us. Yeah. So therapy sometimes puts a mirror in front of you so that now you're able to identify your own toxic traits, your own shortfalls and your own shortcomings, so that you can better yourself, so that you are able to do better when dealing with other people.
And relate better with other people. So when we then decided to get back together, I remember we sat and we had a very long conversation.
Yeah. And it wasn't like over one day and we said, okay, yeah.
It was a couple of sessions.
Yeah.
And we needed to go back and kind of revisit why things kind of fell apart or crumbled. And we began there and we worked our way into where we want to go.
Yeah.
And like I said, we realized that communication was the
main issue.
Yeah.
And I think also another tool that we got from therapy was protection.
Protection as well.
Protection is so important. I think Msi and I, when we were at our lowest, we would want to hurt one another. Like if I'm hurting, I would want him to feel what I'm feeling, and vice versa. Hence the banging of the doors, the raising of the voice, all of those things, man. It was just, you were hurting at that time and you wanted the other person to feel what you were feeling. So protection is another thing that we learned, and that's another thing that we've carried throughout protection
our marriage as well.
For us also, our therapist made us aware that, well, guys, your relationship is quite different, and people are gonna come and they're gonna have opinions and they're gonna voice their opinions, and you need to decide how much of your relationship you want to let people into, and you need to also protect your relationship, protect each other, and also from one another. You need to make sure that if I'm addressing Msi on something that I don't like, I don't just fall from a tree. And vice versa. He knows what ticks me off. He knows what makes me closed off. He needs to make sure that when he presents something, he presents it in a way that I'm going to be a bit more receptive. And
I guess also the way that we communicate, like our languages, we also needed to learn that because we communicate differently. I express my frustration different than the way you express yours. And we just needed to learn those things about each other and be able to relate better.
And Msi is such a fixer, guys. Like sometimes I'd come to him because I'm frustrated about something and he wants to fix. And for me, that used to irritate me, and I'd be like, no, I just want to vent. I want to wallow.
By the way, I didn't get that. I didn't get why someone would share a situation, and I'm already at solution, but that's not good enough. What she wants is for me to listen.
Yes.
And
precisely.
Take it in. Well, I'm not looking to fix it.
No, I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen.
Yeah, but that was me. That has always been me, Mr. Fix It.
So anyway, we learned a lot, guys, through therapy, and then slowly but surely we started to rekindle the love. I remember when we decided that we're gonna start dating, I was super nervous about your family. And
I know that was your biggest concern, that every time you would think of coming through, you would want me to meet you somewhere halfway.
Yeah, meet me at the bus stop, meet me somewhere, because I'm not coming all the way to your house by myself.
Back to the house.
Yeah. Just so that I don't bump into someone at the gate. That was my biggest fear. I'm like, because in my mind, I'm like, your family probably hates me. Yeah, here's another girl that came and broke his heart. That's what I was thinking in my head.
Remember closer to that time when we were still trying to get back to being back together, I had to go and have a little procedure done at the hospital. Still remember that story.
Guys, so Msi was at the hospital now. It was a small procedure, nothing major. So I went to go see him, I think, and then I remember you got a call from your brother.
I got a call that they were downstairs.
They were downstairs. They were coming in. They wanted to find out which room number you were in.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? They here in the hospital? By that time, guys, no one knew that we're getting back together. Yeah, so. And in my mind, everybody hated me. So I'm thinking, what? Baza up? Are they coming here? So at that point, I was like, I need to get out of this hospital right now.
I swear, I think she rolled like a ninja out of that room.
Guys, I was ducking and diving. I kid you not, because the last thing I want is to have an interaction with them. Like, I don't want them to see me. In fact, I don't even want them to know that I was there.
Yeah.
So I remember I ran out of that hospital room, went to the toilet. I thought to myself, there was a cab waiting for me outside. But then I was like, no, because there's only one entrance to this hospital. So if I go downstairs now, out the entrance, they're probably gonna walk in as I'm coming out. And if I use the lift, they might be at the bottom waiting for the lift to get them, and I might be getting out of the lift. So I went to the toilet and I sat there and I was like, okay, maybe a good 10 minutes or so. And then I think I tried calling you to find out if they were at the room already. So that if they're in the room, then it means I can get out. Yo, guys, it was something else. It was something else.
That was kind of funny.
But we decided eventually to get back together. And we did, and I think from that point onwards we've been stronger than ever before. Yeah, I think our relationship has been through everything, and it stood the test of time.
It stood the test.
Because our breakup was about 8 months, so it was a very long breakup. But anyway, guys, we thought we'd just share a time when we broke up, and we made up again, and here we are. So
communicating better, having learned each other's languages, having learned how to deal with frustration better.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, we hope that you enjoyed this story time, and we will see you guys in our next video. Thank you so much for watching. By the way, guys, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And also, please watch the ads. Don't skip the ads. And yeah, I think that's about it, guys. We love you so much, guys, and we'll see you in our next video.